Hello, everyone. Nathaniel Gavronsky here, and I'm at the old burial grounds in Lexington, Massachusetts. Now, I am at Captain James Parker's burial ground. This is his tombstone. This is his memorial. This is the guy who rounded up the men to protest the march of the regulars from Boston to Concord. Again, his job was not so much to put up a fight or stop the regulars, just to protest their actions. If it wasn't for him, though, the fact that the British regulars could have just marched right around him, they didn't have to stop at the green, they didn't have to confront him. The fact that they were there at Parker's, request, halted the British for a period of time. Also to have the skirmish there, and that skirmish actually alerted so many other people about, the fact that the regulars were on the march to go collect all the guns. The British told Parker to disperse his men, and Parker was actually in the process of having his men disperse. They were there as a protest to what the British regulars were doing. They weren't there to fight 700 men with only, 78 men on the green. They just weren't prepared for it, and Parker knew that most of the guns and the powder and even the cannons that were rumored had been hidden around. The British weren't going to find anything, because this has happened before. The Red Army had marched somewhere and they found nothing. Parker knew everything was moved. Parker was there as a protest with his men when they were fired upon by the British Army after the shot heard around the world, which, again, we don't know who actually fired it. No one in the British Army gave the order to fire, and none of the men on the green could recall firing either. So, even though we'll never know, the fact that Parker rounded up his men and got them on that green stalled the regular army just enough to, and with the events that laid out, alerted everyone else in the countryside, making the Battle of Concord something that the Americans could win, which they did. Those alarms from all the firing is what rounded up some 20,000 men total were on the march that day, looking for the British regular army. It all starts with, at least at as far as Lexington is concerned, with Parker. Now, Parker's revenge, him and his men, after the fights there at Concord, he got all of his men back together. They had regrouped after, the Lexington incident, and they went and they found the regulars marching back from Concord on the way back to Boston, and they attacked them again at Parker's Revenge, actually just a short distance away from where Paul Revere was captured when he was trying to go to Concord to warn them that the regulars were coming. Captain James Parker was born on July 13th of 1729. He actually sadly dies just a few months after the events of April 19th. He dies in September 17th of 1775 from tuberculosis. But he's laid to rest here, and he has a decent-sized stone with flags on all four corners from his veteran service with the Continental Resistance Movement. Because he wasn't, his group wasn't officially part of the Minutemen resistance. They did stand out there in protest with their guns, which they were permitted to keep even by the regulars. The regulars weren't there to collect farming rifles, hunting guns. They're there to military amounts of shot and cannon and bullets. But his bravery and the bravery of his men led to so much. And this memorial to him has, since this has been here, I think since the, 1830s, they put this larger monument here, I think 1838, because they were, starting to show more interest into the history of the Revolution about this time. But I am in the old burial grounds here at Lexington, but I wanted to show you where Parker is laid to rest, since he was such an important person and not so well known by the greater American public. But now you guys can see Parker's grave. I'll do a close-up of his description on his stone. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please like and subscribe these videos and share them with all your friends, because I want more people to learn about American history. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.